REMARKETER. Empowering Realtors.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining me. Good morning, Diane from Barrie. It's good to have you with us again today, and I hope we're going to have some good discussions about lead nurturing today. So, um, as part of the business of every realtor is looking for and trying to generate as many leads as possible in order to obviously achieve the ultimate goal of generating business out of the leads. So generating the leads, it's one part of the puzzle, one part of the story itself, and we're not going to get into that today. But nurturing and what happens to the leads after you generate the leads is what's we're going to be talking about today. Now, the thing here is that you can generate leads from various venues. It could be online leads, which is usually the most ubiquitous lead generation channel that we think about, but we also have to understand that we usually generate the least qualified leads when we go to online routes. But that's not the only route of generating leads. Basically, you generate leads in open houses, you generate leads in events and gatherings, and you generate leads by sending out flyers or direct mail or even email campaigns and email marketing. So there are many different venues of generating leads. Referrals are considered leads as well, because not unless you have a a standing agreement with the person, as long as someone's been referred to you, at the beginning, there are obviously a lead that you would still need to nurture into a client. So no matter where you're generating your leads from, or where you have your, the list of contacts in your database imported from, you would still need to nurture those leads so that they would eventually sign a contract with you and become your client. So that's the ultimate goal. And obviously the number of fish in the bowl matters. If you have a lot of leads versus just a few leads, your chances of scoring out of the bigger pool is obviously more. But that's only statistically speaking. If you don't have a proper nurturing strategy in place, that's going to be difficult for you to generate any business out of the lead. So it's usually the latter, the lead nurturing, which is what a lot of realtors who spend time and money on generating leads may lack if they're not seeing the results from their lead generation efforts. So that's what we're going to be talking about today, and this is what we're going to be looking at looking for various capabilities that are put forth for you by REMARKETER. Okay, so I just want to reiterate on the fact that I want to talk about strategy today. So it's not just a tool that you switch on for everybody and it just works. Obviously, there are a lot of automated capabilities in REMARKETER, but what I want you to focus on here is the fact that nurturing every individual lead would need to be different, and for that you need to have a strategy. So I want to show you how you can really apply whatever strategy that you have for your lead nurturing, and be able to use the tools that are available here to make the most of it. Okay. Ultimately, the ultimate nurturing is direct communication. So never forget that. So the biggest type of nurturing that you can ever do is to pick up the phone once in a while and call your leads. Or if you don't have their phone number, at least if you have an email address, to just drop a line and send a direct email to them, rather than trying to communicate on many different bases, rather than including them in uh, campaigns. So that would be the ultimate. But we're talking about tools here, and we're talking about CRM and whatever in terms of more generic types of nurturing that are available within a platform. So that's what we'll be talking about. But never forget that it's, at the end of the day, you taking the time to communicate with someone would be the ultimate nurturing. So that should definitely be part of your strategy. But let's go ahead and see what else we've got and we need to do here. So the core of your lead nurturing is your contact manager, or your CRM, if you want to call it. This is where you have all your contacts, including all your leads. So everybody is going to be here. So, uh, the main core principle here would be for you to have a maintained and vetted list of contacts and leads in your contact manager. So that's number one. If you don't know who's in your contact manager, that's the first step you should take, to go back, review the contacts that you have in your contact manager. You just don't dump contacts into your contact manager. You need to know who's in there, and you need to know who's in what level and what stage of your funnel, which we'll talk about as well, and have clear strategies to communicate with them. So basically, it's like a funnel from the top to the bottom. So you should have a strategy for every tier of the funnel in order to be able to generally in a broader manner speak to a set of your clientele, or leads, if you want to say, and then narrow that down as you get fewer and fewer of them closer to the end of the spectrum in your funnel. So that's important there. So this is number one. Your contact manager should definitely be uh, cleared out of all the clutter. That is, on several different bases, it is going to hurt your marketing if you don't clear out your contact manager. So having a huge, 2,000 contact or 5,000 contact database is good, but it's not if you don't know what the hell is going on in there. So that's important for you. All right, let me go ahead and change the columns back to the default. So we would start where you would start from. So basically, it's a very basic approach here. The first, you have a column for the full name, the email address, category, and then the dates, the date of entry. So that's where you actually enter the contact into your contact manager. And then we have the tags. So the two columns that I want you to pay attention to are the category column as well as the tags. Now, I always mention this whenever we talk about contacts in your contact manager. You should have the reason for you to have people here is to communicate with them. So if you don't have a contact that doesn't have, well, I mean, if you don't have contacts um, that have emails, at least, so that you can send out an email once in a while to them, communication with them is going to be really hard. I understand that a lot of your contacts have phone numbers, but that is good if you really want to get down and communicate with them on an individual basis, which would mean that they are much closer to the end of the spectrum, to the bottom of the funnel right there, right? So that is it's good to have phone numbers, but it's not as effective as email addresses. So I urge you, as always, whenever you get the contact information of a contact, make sure it includes an email address for that person, because that's a much more convenient way for you to communicate with them, especially if they're not close to the lower ends of the funnel there for you. All right, so that's an important factor as well to remember. All right, so now here you can see in a glance that I can quickly see which one of my contacts is a lead and which one is not a lead. So that's an important factor right here. Now, the second column here is the column of the tags. This is where I group my contacts, and grouping your contacts is the fundamental basis, based on which you can apply a set, at least one or two or three, or a set of different policies for communication. So see the literature here. You basically, what you do is that you design a policy, one or two or three, whatever, in order to communicate with your contacts. So that's important. Communication is key here. So the tags would definitely help you classify contacts. So it's good to have classifications for all various objectives of your business. But one set of classifications should definitely be for your communication policies. Leads or not, you should definitely have policies for your communication. So let me give you an example. We have here who are, just general contacts, and then we have some who are leads. And for instance, here we have a past client, right? So these three people fall into three different categories for sure, right? So the contacts that I would like to gradually, occasionally get in touch with and find out what's going on, and kind of touch base and catch up, would probably be the past client, right? Or maybe even a general contact right here. The person who I might want to reach out to in order to get a referral would probably be my past client, because that's the person who's going to be able to offer me a referral, because I've had a successful relationship with them before. So that kind of a communication would never be directed to a lead. So you don't ask a lead to give you a lead. That should never happen there. So this is the problem right here. If I just take the my contact manager at face value, and let's say I have a recently listed property that I want to invite several people. Well, let me give you another example, basically. So let's say I just want to send out an email saying that, it's been great working with you guys, and if you know anybody who's interested, I'd be happy to work with them, and blah blah blah. So that's basically what I want to communicate. I want to ask for referrals. It's a good thing to send out every once in a while as well. You have to word it properly. You have to wait for the occasion, and you can't do that too many times during the year. But of course, it could be part of the tactics that you have to ask for referrals from the past clients, basically. So if I just send that out to everybody here, what I'm doing is that, yes, I may relate to some of my past clients who are receiving this email as well. But what I'm doing is that I'm going to kill the opportunity of a lot of other types of contacts or classifications of contacts that I have that necessarily do not necessarily relate to that kind of a content, right? So if you have a just sold property and you send it out to everybody, think twice. Who's interested to find out about your just sold property, and who's not interested know that you have just recently sold a property, for example, right? Uh, there are differences. Another thing is that, for instance, if you have a uh, uh, let's say recently listed property or market statistics, for instance, that's going out. If you have uh, uh, the latest market updates that are going out, who are you going to send it to? So that's important. You need to know and understand what type of communication you want to make with each one of these types of contacts. And that's just one type of a category here. Let's get into one of these contacts here. Let me just get into this one. All right. So I'm editing that, and let's get into the profile. Okay. Now, in the profile, this is where you can select that. So we've got a category here, which could be it could be a general category. It could be a lead. It could be a prospect, a client, sphere of influence, past client, or even another agent, right? So, for example, if you have properly categorized your uh, agent contacts, uh, you would easily be able to have certain communication made only with the agents, right? So if you have properly categorized your contacts there, then it's going to be easier for you to, first of all, know who to contact for certain types of communication. Secondly, there are going to be other types of communication that you can have going on. So, for instance, once you have agents in your contact list and you have clearly categorized them, then what you can do is that you can, let's say, for instance, um, um, announce a requirement of a buyer that you have to all the agents in your network, for instance, and be able to cooperate with other agents in order to be able to land the best deal for your client, for example. So these are the kind of services that you can brag about and you can really build your business on, right? So, and it won't happen unless you have taken the step to make the categorization in your contact list. Now, let's go back to the top here. So a general contact is usually a general contact, someone who's just generally available in your um, database. So um, there's not much here to discuss, and unless you understand what the requirements of that person is. It could even be someone who's there just for specific reasons. So, for example, that could be a general contractor, for instance. So you have that in your contact manager in order to communicate with, but not necessarily real estate related, right? So, but anyways, that's just the broadest tier of category that we have there. But let's get into leads. The next level would be a lead. Who's a lead? A lead is someone that you have a set of contact information of. You have a name and maybe an email, and perhaps an intent. The intent could be whether the person is a buyer in the market or not, or seller, right? So that's the type of lead that you might have, and it's usually as much as that, basically. Now we have another category here, which is a prospect. Now there's a difference between a lead and a prospect. Um, a prospect is basically a warmer lead, right? So now you have a prospect of doing, well, basically there's a prospective of doing business with that person now, because now there's been a little bit of communication. So as soon as you start communicating with the lead, and you get responses. So for instance, you send out uh, do you want me to set you up on listing alerts and let me know what your criteria are? And they respond back to you and say, okay, so here's my criteria, and you can set me up for listing alerts. So all of a sudden that lead is now a prospect, right? Because now you have opened up the lines of communication with that person. So that is when I would change the category from lead to prospect. Now, obviously, the communications that you make with a lead are very different with the communications that you make with a prospect, right? With prospects, you're not going to send out that blanket email that just says, um, let's get to know each other, right? Because you already know them, right? So you've already passed that stage with the prospect, right? And they already know you as well because you have started the communication. They're not your client yet. They may not become your client, but they are still a prospect. So that would be a level, uh, deeper in terms of the tiers of the funnel that we're sending them through compared to a lead. And obviously, after that, it would be a client. So if you're able to land that contract and they become your client, that's when we would use this category. So again, you're not going to send out an email to your clients, to your active clients about I don't know, maybe uh, uh, even a just leased property wouldn't be relevant to them because they're in the market to purchase a property, for example. Why would you send them a property that you just leased, for example, right? So an active client is important for you to categorize and know exactly. And market stats and market updates would be definitely relevant to the clients, so they would see where the market is going, because that definitely um, affects their the speed of which they would make up their mind and purchase a property, for example, right, or sell a property there. Now, if a prop, if the client is not actively your client and they're not in the market right now, you could categorize them as past clients. So this would, allow you to, understand that. Or differentiate between the clients that are actively working with you right now and the past clients, the clients that had worked with you before. So for instance, informing past clients about a success story of a recent client would kind of be interesting, because they would relate. It shows that your awesome service is continuing with other people as well. And then obviously, if you back that up with a request for referrals, it kind of makes sense, right? So that's the strategy part that I'm telling you about. And then we have this sphere of influence. So the sphere of influence is basically any contact. It could be your past clients, it could be your current clients, or it could just be family and friends and coworkers, etc. So these are people who know you and you have influence over, right? So that's the sphere of a sphere of contacts, a sphere of people that that's your circle within which you have some influence. So you're going to be able to, bank on this category of your contacts, to get the most referrals there, right? So sphere of influence is basically any contact that you can communicate with, and hopefully you'll be able to generate business through, right? So might not even be a past client, could just be uh, uh, your family members, for example. All right. And obviously, we have the agents as well, which speaks for itself. It's just another category that we have there. Now, in front here, we have a source too, which is, again, could kind of help you with the type of communication. So that basically tells you, for example, if this is a lead, where did that lead come from? I got this lead in an open house, right? So that tells you a different story than if I got a lead from an online channel, for example, right? We've got all sorts of different categories here. Online there, well, we've got a manual source there, so that's where you manually enter them. We had online, we have an advertisement, we've got Facebook, Google, Instagram, so any generally social media if you want. So you can be very specific or not that specific if you want to. If that person was a referral, so that's an important factor to consider here. So if I get a referral lead, I have to be on top of this because I don't want to go, let this go to waste. Because not only I'm going to lose this one, but also the confidence of the person who referred that person to me. Networking is another source. Door knocking, obviously, is another source. Cold calling, open houses, website, from your own website, from the app, if you're using the mobile app, that's another source, and other, obviously. Now, a lot of these will be automatically configured when you generate leads. So, for instance, if someone comes in through your website, the system will automatically categorize the contact as a lead, and this would be on website. Or if you generate a lead on the mobile app, then you're going to be able to see that the system automatically classifies this as a lead and the source as the app. Same goes for open houses as well as door knocking, for instance. So these are everything that we have available here. So if you're using the door knocking module right here, then every time that you add a contact in there, the system will automatically categorize that as a door knocking lead right there. Okay. Now, the next thing that I want to show you is that actual funnel that we were talking about. So let's go ahead and save this. All right, so let's say I have a door knocking lead right here. Now, if you go to actions here and check the items that we have here, one of them is add sales funnel. So if you click on add sales funnel, the system is going to add a sales funnel for you, which you can then configure for your leads as well, right? So it's a very simple sales funnel, so it's not going to complicate things for you. The good thing about it is that it's just 4 stages, very clear what happens at every stage. So at that stage, you're going to be able to have a different strategy applied for each one of the stages that we have here. So the first stage here is qualification. So basically, that's when you want to qualify the lead, right? So you've got a lead, you have a contact information, you have guessed an intent. For instance, that person has, submitted a home valuation on your website. So if that's the case, most probably that lead's intention is to evaluate a house and probably sell it, right? So, but you still need to qualify the person. So that would be stage 1. So that would be usually the first level of that funnel that we're going through. All right. Now, the intention during this qualification is to be able to at least have an appointment or point of communication. So it doesn't have to be a meeting. It could be, you send an email and you receive a response, right? So now you can communicate, right? So basically what you would want to do then is to try to meet that person in order to write an agreement. So that would be stage 2, where you are in the process of communicating and hopefully be able to land that appointment. And every stage you can see that the date that person, it could take months before you move one person from this level to this level here, right? So that's the challenge with real estate business, and that's why nurturing is so important, because you would need to work a long time in order to move people through your funnel. The next stage would be agreement. That's when you actually have an agreement. This is where the contact should probably be changed to a client. So basically, it could mean here that you have a lead, here you have a prospect, here you have a client now, right? So they're in the agreement process. So basically, you are in the process of changing them into a client. Once you do, you change the category, and then finally you have the deal, right? So basically, you are in the market, you have have an active contract with them, and you purchase or sell the property that they want to do. So it's a very easy 4-stage um, funnel that you might also want to use. Now, uh, you can also remove the sales funnel if you want to, and then start over. Right, so it's very easy. You can just remove and start over if you want to, if you want to change the status here. Now, the other thing that I want to show you is the quality of relationship here. All right, so that's a new addition to the platform, and if you remember, we spoke about this last week as well, I believe. But I want to show you how this could, uh, help with your strategies as well. So uh, let's put aside strategy, basically leads and clients for now, and let's stick to past clients or sphere of influence. So communication with these people is also important, and you might want to keep track of the level of or quality of relationship that you have with these people. And you can use that utilizing this tool right here. So this is just another classification that you apply to people who give you referrals. So, that's a different type of a funnel here. It's very different from what we have here. Here we're talking about a lead to client funnel. Here we're talking about building relationships over time after a deal or through our sphere of influence in order to gain more and more business out of the network that I have. So these are two completely different strategies. So here we're talking about how to build relationships in order to get referrals. Here we're talking about how to build relationships to get the business from that specific person, right? So these are very different. That's why I wanted to also touch on this as well, because this is another part of your business. This is another part of your relationship building, and you should have content for all of these as well. I'll show you the content next. So A plus is someone who's it gives you multiple yearly referrals. You should have a strategy for these people. You should incentivize people to give you referrals, right? That incentive could even be, a cash referral fee. Why not? Right? So there could be people who, routinely give you a lot of referrals, and they should be A plus, and they should be treated as an A plus. Gifts could go out to them, right? They could be invited to parties, for example. So you should have an incentive, and you should have a way of communicating with them. A's are people who have given you referrals in the past, so they're valuable too, right? B's are your past clients, right? So a past client who has not given you any referrals yet, but has done business with you would be a B, for instance, right? So that's another one. Now, C is just a contact that knows you. So that's probably a sphere of influence. So make sure that the relationships between these different categories make sense. So immediately you're going to be able to set a tone and a way of communicating. So as soon as you see I have a sphere of influence who's just a contact that knows me, now I know what to talk about if I meet them, or if I talk to them, or if I call them, or if I send them an email, or if I send them a letter, or whatever, right? D would be don't know. These are people who don't know you. Obviously, that wouldn't qualify as a sphere of influence. Maybe a prospect or a lead, or maybe just a general contact, right? So they don't know you yet. So you want to make sure that they know you now, right? So if you want to introduce yourself to anyone, it would be introducing yourself to general Ds, right? So that's what we want to be doing there. And then we have an O, which is an online lead, which brings me to the point that I made at the very beginning of this conversation today. Online leads are the least qualified leads, right? So they take a lot more for you to be able to reach them um, nurture them through your funnel up here. All right, so that's why we added another one. So basically, that says is that you have the lowest quality of relationship with an online lead at the beginning. Obviously, once you start nurturing, then you have more and more. Um, you would include, upgrade your quality of relationship, and then be able to also move them through the process here as well, and up here. Okay. Now, now that you have your um, categorization in place and you know who's who, then we need to um, come up with the content and make sure that we communicate with each one of these categories and each one of these leads and contacts here with the adequate type of um, communique. All right. So you have various options with Remarketer. Let me just start now that we are here with the nurturing control of um, the contacts here. So this is available to Lead Master Package subscribers, and most of it, not all of it, but most of it. Some of it is also available to lower packages, but it's a very unique and very useful tool if utilized properly, right? So at the very top, we have a newsletter. You can switch that on, and it's going to send the general newsletter that we make available every month to be sent to that person, right? So you might want this to be on or off for each one of your contacts, right? So what happens is that they at least receive a newsletter from you. Now, is a newsletter relevant content for everyone? We try to make it as much as possible, right? So whether you're a current client or a past client or a sphere of influence or an A plus past client, or someone who just generally knows you, it wouldn't be too bad to receive an email once every month from you that includes some general market statistics and a couple of fun things to do throughout the month. So that's pretty much what the newsletter is. Or the occasional greeting. So when it's Halloween or Family Day or New Year's, it's a good idea for everybody to receive an occasional greeting. So that's okay for you as well. Now, unless you do your own thing with the occasional greetings, you can just have that thing switched on, and the system will send out something to them, right? So we've got the Happy Family Day, for instance, sent out to this person. Now, here on the right-hand side, you can also check out and see what nurturing content has gone to them, and you can see which ones were interesting to them, right? So this one was opened. These two were clicked through, meaning that it was really interesting to them. So they actually clicked and took some time to go further from the nurturing email that was sent out. Now, so these are the two general ones that are available there. Now, down here, we can get a lot more specific, right? So for example, you can have, let's go back to profile. You can have past clients, right? Whom, let's go ahead and add a tag here, who has purchased a property in Ajax, right? So now I tag the property, the person as Ajax as well, right? So I know that this is a past client, let's say buyer, right, who purchased a property in Ajax, right? So let's go ahead and save that. Now, in nurturing, what thing that I can do is that I would send out the Ajax market stats to that person. So see what I did here? I just quickly switched on the market report for the specific city that that person is living in, right? Instead of a generic, broad Toronto real estate board market statistics that every realtor out there is sending out to their clients, you are a lot more specific now, and you are specifically sending out the market stats of the city of this specific person right here, right? So that relates to them, and that allows you to build a relationship on a much higher level. Let's say you have a lead that's interested to purchase a property in Ajax. So this again would be very relevant to that person. So if you're doing lead nurturing, this is automated, and you don't have to go in and find Ajax statistics every month and prepare it and send it out to everyone, which is going to be an extremely time-consuming task. What you would do here is that you simply select the city that the person is interested in, sending out the stats of that specific area. And therefore, you are now on top of the stat when it comes to relating to that lead. That lead could be, the lead of several other realtors at the same time as well. It's not just you that they've, filled out a form on the website, for instance. It could be other realtors as well. So rest assured that every lead that you have is also working with several other realtors, and other people are, trying to connect with them as well. So this puts you at the top of the list, obviously, because you're giving them content that's a lot more relevant. Obviously, you can set them to receive listings based on certain criteria. I'm not going to get into the criteria itself. Obviously, you can set the criteria, and you're definitely familiar with that. And then the system will send out listings every week. So this goes out every week. These are the ones. Just listed properties that match your criteria, just listed properties. So these are going out, would go out every week if you don't switch out the daily listing alerts, basically. So it sends out a weekly update of listings to them. Now, if you switch on the daily listing alert, it goes out every day, as you can see here, 24th, 25th, 27th, every week. And then you can see that this one had included something that was of interest. And you can obviously see the email and see that, okay, so this property was interesting to this guy, right? So that changes. And this one wasn't that interesting, for example. They didn't click on it. So each one of these will be shown here, and you can easily see what's going on there. Now, why do we have the daily versus the weekly? It's different again. So if someone is actively in the market, it's a client of yours and is looking to buy right now, you should definitely send them daily listing updates. But if someone is just, thinking about it, sending out daily listing alerts is going to be too much for them, right? So it's not really going to relate to them. But you can send them weekly updates and send them that, these are the properties that were listed and sold in the past week. So, you kind of get to know what's going on in the market. And you can even shift the market here and there, and, kind of allow them to skim the market, pretty much to scan the market and see what's going on around there, and, getting to know what's there. And then when they're in between, you should also communicate with them, are you ready to buy, are you ready to buy, are you ready to buy, with different wordings, obviously. And then once they get down to business, that's when you move them on to level 2 of the funnel. That's when you will set an appointment and write an agreement and get down to business, right? This could happen months from now, right? Someone could be looking and kind of curious and interested, but 6 months from now, that's when they want to really get into the market and purchase a property, for example. Same goes for sellers. If you have a client who purchased the property, now is not a time to send them new listings anymore, because they just purchased properties, so they shouldn't receive new listings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch the new listings alerts, for instance, off in here, and then instead I'm going to switch on a seller alert. So these are the people who, could be a past client. In this case, I'll put in their address, I'll qualify everything, all the information that are needed here. And what would be sent out to that person every other week is, a snapshot of the neighborhood. So what are other similar properties around you that are being listed and sold, right? So that kind of gives them an idea of, now that I purchased this property, what else is happening in the neighborhood. You might not even activate this immediately. You might activate this, let's say, a year or 2 years after the person has purchased the property. Why? Because that's when they would think about, what's the equity that I have in the property? Should I upgrade? Should I downgrade? Should I, upsize, downsize, whatever? So that's when they start thinking about, the next step, when they're halfway through their mortgage cycle, for instance, right? So again, you can be strategic and configure that. No other platform gives you this. You can definitely benefit a lot from this. It's automated and it actually works automatically. But it's important for you to basically uh, watch what's going on here and see where the interest lies, and talk to them about whatever they were interested in. For instance, here I can see that the person clicked on something here. I'll check it out, and I see that the person has clicked on this property, meaning that the person was interested in this. It's When did this happen? It happened today. So it's a great idea for me to now take 2 minutes, write a quick email, and send it out to that person with regards to this property. What did you like about this? Did you like it? Do you think, if maybe it comes back to you and says, no, I forwarded the email to my friend and they were interested in that. There we go. Give me the referral, right? So you can see that how the communication can happen. Obviously, in the browsing history as well, you can see what properties that person has been looking for, and all that information would be available to you if they went anywhere else. So you have in-depth information available for each one of the content. So these are some of the things that we have available here as well. But you can also create other content for nurturing your contacts. These are the automated nurturing, which automatically pops when you generate leads and prospects, etc. But obviously, newsletters is the number one thing, go-to marketing content that you might want to send out to your contacts on occasional, basically on regular basis. So you can create multiple newsletters because it's very easy to create newsletters in Remarketer. So remember that guy who purchased the property in Ajax? I might even, prepare a much more in-depth, newsletter for my Ajax buyers. So if that's what you do, Ajax monthly newsletter, I put in a description. I always love to use the chat GPT built into the system, so you can easily go ahead and put in the content in there, the news description in there, and then obviously we can add the content. So here, what do? I just select Ajax and add it in there. There we go. We have the market stats for Ajax. Then you can add the market report. Obviously, we have the news, for instance, if you want to select from that, or you can just add a market report yourself. You can add a video of you talking about this. That would be awesome, right? So you can quickly record a video and shoot that out. So you probably send out to 3, 4, 5 different markets here, and you can really do that very easy. And I'll show you a hack as well. So you put in some listings in there if you have some listings available. So you can add those listings down here. You can add pre-constructions. You can add, anything that you want: images, videos, news, buttons, etc., etc. And then you can create an Ajax monthly newsletter. So that's that. You generate it and save it. And if you've done this, you know how easy it is. And you can create newsletters for specific markets in matter of minutes. And once you have that available, You can go out and send that Ajax monthly newsletter to your Ajax contacts, and so on and so forth, right? So you can prepare a newsletter just for your leads who are looking to buy in a certain area, for example. You can include some specific properties that you can talk about them. You can have the market stats available. So all of that would be available for you, and easily sent out. So what do I do here? I just type in Ajax in the filter. These are my Ajax contacts. I select them and send it out. So this way I'm doing communication with them on a level that no other agent is doing. Listing Courier allows you to send out listings. It doesn't have to be your listings. You can just select listings and send out to contacts. With property search, you can specifically find certain properties and send them to your contacts, especially good for your active contacts right there. Or nurturing, or prospects that you know exactly what they're looking for, right? So you might have a prospect who knows that they're looking to purchase a property at a certain price point in, let's say, for instance, I don't know, Danforth Village, right? So you know exactly and specifically what they want. So you want to also send out a few properties from, let's say, the beaches, just to tell them, the flavor of other options that they have. So you can use this and find some properties here and easily send the properties out to that person with a little note that says, I know you're looking for Danforth, but have you seen your options in beaches if you're willing to move a little bit, a few blocks to the east, for instance, right? So these are, the kind of things that you can utilize as well. Now we also do have the content GPT. Obviously, this is the one that I wanted to talk to you about as well. The market analysis and the news articles that are generated by content GPT. You want to do a little video about the Ajax market stats. You could just pull this up, and here we go. We have an AI generated market statistics for the city of Ajax that's available here. And all you need to do is, you can take this, load it on your website, and then, record yourself reading the same script and talking about the same numbers, put that in a newsletter and send it out. Or even better, social media. Don't forget, social media is your communication channels where you are nurturing contacts. You're nurturing, followers on social media as well. And that's very important. If you haven't done social media marketing so far, you are missing out on your biggest opportunity of your entire life. I mean, social media marketing is the biggest thing. And I'm not talking about advertising on social media. Definitely not talking about advertising on social media. You guys have done that forever. Presence on social media, that's what I'm talking about, right? You have to be present and active on social media, because that is the biggest channel that you can build relationships through with prospects, leads, clients, past clients, sphere of influence, everybody. That's where you have to be active. So find your niche there and go for it, and then make this your 2024 resolution. Definitely, it's not too late. But I mean, the level of the amount of time that everybody is spending on social media, which is not too great if you're talking from the point of view of a parent, nevertheless, the amount of time everybody is spending on social media is mounting, and that is, your opportunity right there. So, I mean, advertising is getting less and less realized. That's just a reality. Once upon a time, you do a TV ad and that'd be the killer and everything. I mean, what is it? The Super Bowl halftime ads would be it. I mean, you would do that and you would survive or you would win. But nowadays, people don't even watch that, right? So, I mean, it's getting less and less relevant. That's what I'm trying to say. the traditional way of advertising. But presence and building relationships has become so ubiquitous and easy that I mean, if you're not doing it, you're definitely missing out. So here it is. Content is right there for you, and no other platform other than Remarketer is providing you that. So use these and use them to your benefit. You just need to get into the game with that. All right. It's already 11:27. It's been an hour, so I'm going to stop here. I hope this was useful so far. But let me see what we have in the questions here. So we have. Okay, so we have a question from Jeff. Let me just quickly bring that back up for you. So if we go to a contact, let me go to the contact manager. So in the family section, when a family member is merged together. So basically what we have here, what Jeff is talking about here is if we go to edit, we have a family section here, and that's new as well. So if you guys had missed it, you have this available here as well. So before in the profile, we had one space for just the spouse, but now here we have a full-fledged section for family where you can add all sorts of family members here, right? So you can add a spouse, you can add a parent, you can add a grandchild, you can add, I don't know, a step sibling, whatever, right? So it's an extensive list of relationships, and you can add the contact in there. Now, if you want, so there's two types of family members that you can add here. And basically, whether you want them to also be another contact or just information here, right? So you might have information about the family here. So when you're on the phone talking with that person, you can kind of say, how is Emily doing, and how's Jack doing, who's her son, for instance. So you have information about their family, right? So that's one instance why you would do that. However, you can also create another contact. So if you want to create another contact, it means that you want to communicate with that specific person as well, right? So let's say I want to add the spouse as another contact, and I have the email address as well, so that I can communicate with that person as well. Now, once you do that, the system will add the spouse information here, and it will also add another contact for the spouse. Now, if you want that person to be included in the emails, then you would have to include them in the same category of communication. So it'll go out to that email as well. But just because someone is somebody else's spouse doesn't mean that every email that you send to person A is also going to go to a person B. No, you have to select both persons in the email campaign that you want to send out. You might as well have very different strategies talking to the both parties. So let's say somebody's somebody else's brother, and they're in both your sphere of influence. One of them is your sphere of influence, the one who knows you. The other one could be your prospect, right? So you have very different types of communication for these two brothers, right? So you have the information in there, you have the contacts in there, but you should again select and decide what type of communicate goes to that. So the answer to this question is no. Not necessarily every email would go to both parties unless you select them in the campaign that you're sending out. We have another comment from Massa. Thank you very much for the comment. Most of the options are available for those who are using the upgraded versions of Remarketer. So yes, you are right. I mean, not all the options are available for all the tiers. That's why we have tiers. We have more, we have cheaper and higher tiers based on the requirements and every individual of our clients. That's why we have the tiers. So, and the reason why I have them in our trainings, and I specifically emphasized on some of them, is for you to understand and see in action what are the other services and kind of tools that are available in higher tiers in case you're not using them. So if you're interested, obviously get in touch with us, and we'd be more than happy to assist you to upgrade to any of the other higher packages. That's the whole point, because unless I show them here, you're never going to know what's available there. And obviously, they don't come at a big, huge premium of a price. Our packages are very, very, um, uh, you know, um, uh, priced in a way that are much cheaper than much cheaper than comparables in the market. So uh, yes, I tend to show talk about various features of the system, and some of them are available to every tier, some of them are available to certain tiers, and now's the chance for you to see and see what the benefits of those features would be. And obviously that would make better sense for you if you should you decide to upgrade. Because if you don't know what you're getting and you upgrade to a higher package, you might just miss out, because you're paying the money that for services and tools that you might not use, not because you don't need them, but mainly because you don't know they exist. I've talked to many clients who are Leadmaster package subscribers, and I tell them you can do this and you can do that, and they say, I never knew I could do this. This is awesome. This is great. And immediately they start, doing what we were talking about with the, packages. So I definitely thank you for your comment, but I mean, that's it. I mean, I try to show as much as possible so that you can, make an informed decision if you want to do it. So thanks again for the comment and bringing this up. It's important because it applies to a lot of people who are watching. All right, so that's it. Uh, it was a long session. We still can go on forever, but we'll do this again. I hope this was informative for you guys. Enjoy the rest of the day, and I'll see you again next week, same time. Have a good one.